Here it is, the new McLaren Artura, in which its name comes from the words art and future, which is a very un-McLaren-like name, shall we say. But one thing which is McLaren-like is this. Total silence. Oh yes, this one is a hybrid. Oh, hang on, the last time McLaren produced a hybrid, it was the P1. Don't get too excited, guys. This one is here to replace the 570S, and McLaren state this is the next generation hybrid supercar, and I think they're right. I think this is one of the best McLarens they've ever made, in which I will explain shortly. But firstly, let's check it out. Now, the Artura is McLaren's entry-level supercar. However, it will still set you back a whopping £189,000, and that's without options. This car right here is finished off in this beautiful Belize blue. Bear in mind, this is used at £199,000. It's for sale at Manchester McLaren. I've got to say, massive thanks to those guys today for lending us this beautiful Artura. Now look inside on. When we compare this to the 570S, the car this has replaced, you get these wheel arch vents, which you don't get in the 570S, staggered wheel setup. However, carbon ceramic discs are standard. Look inside on, massive change though, no side skirts. And this was a big issue on the 570S because it always was an alignment issue. For me, it looks much sleeker and cleaner. Now, considering what you can pick up 720S or 600 LT up, this really has to be an attractive package, and I think it is. The design, it's beautiful. I'm a massive fan of McLaren design making. I think they've knocked it out of the park again. Now, looking on to the rear section of the Artura, as you can see, it's one massive, well, material, one massive piece of design. And the 570S had different body parts going on, and this obviously improves airflow. When you drive a car this fast, reducing airflow is massively important. Okay, looking straight on to the rear, first of all, when you look into the engine actually sits really, really low to the ground. That's obviously to reduce the centre of gravity. This car is, it's like it's glued to the road. Twin exhaust pipes, and of course, look at these integrated lights there. They look mega. However, let's hear what this car sounds like. Very nice. You know what, I'm going to be honest, when I first saw this car come out online, I wasn't a big fan. I thought, however, until you see it in person, it's a lot better looking. Because there's a lot of angles going on, it's a hard car to picture. But when you actually see it, you think, it looks really good. Massive fan of the split lights. And yeah, just a big fan. And as we get the key out, as we open the frunk, when it does open, there we are. 160 litres of boot space, that's 14 more litres than the 570S, so yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's go take a look inside. Now, every time you get into the Artura, it is a nice touch, seeing those massive radiators through these vents here. And as we get, obviously, dihedral doors, they come up like so. It's not bad to get in. I will say the 720S is easier, although when you're in, I'm sure you'll find your own way in anyway. Ooh. Right, on the inside, I gotta say it's really comfortable, starting with these seats. They're Club Sport, they're called. There's loads of space in here. The glove box, there's a bit of space down there. You've got your 12-volt socket thing, USB-C and USB, so you can plug your phone in to use for the Apple CarPlay. 8-inch display, 10.25-inch on your instrument cluster, and it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although you have to have it plugged in. So therefore, I do have a shortcut to ring Harry with the R8 V10 Plus to let him know later that this car beats his 0 to 60 time. Stay tuned. But like all McLarens though, it's a really nice place to be. All the uses of Alcantara. It's got Bowers and Wilkins sound system, so the sound system is spot on, and I especially like these orange seat belts. Look how mega they are. Anyhow, let's get on to the road test. So I just need to get out of this space. I'm just going to reverse. Silence yet again. Yes, because this has an electric motor, there's no need for a reverse gear. But my issue is, what happens if the electric motor dies, McLaren? So with the eradication of the reverse gear, there's extra room for a mechanical gear. So for the first time ever, McLaren have equipped the Artura with an 8-speed dual clutch transmission, which helps fuel economy. Not that you're bothered with a supercar anyway, however, it's a nice to have / no basis. And without having a reverse gear, ultimately that saves weight. And that was McLaren's priority when they were developing the Artura. A brand new carbon fibre monocoque chassis was developed. So this car now weighs in at 1,498 kilos. Now, considering it's a hybrid, that's outstanding. Wow. Right, I'm bored of stating facts. Let's bloody drive this thing. So let's put this car in sport, start the engine up. Actually, let's go for track. And let's unleash its full 671 brake horsepower. There we are. The engine is a 3-litre V6, pushing out 577 brake horsepower. Combine it with a 7.4 kilowatt hour battery, which surely produces 94 horsepower by itself. Combine the two, this thing is pretty unbelievable. There's zero turbo lag, and all of its power is sent to the rear wheels. And the sound as well. V6, first time a McLaren's been fitted one of these. I was a little apprehensive about the sound, but I gotta admit, I'm pretty happy with it. But does it lose that McLaren-like feel, that McLaren-like sound? No, it does not, which I'm happy about. And I gotta admit, it sounds... I'm happy with that. I could live with this. So I'm now going to attempt to launch the McLaren Artura from 0 to 60. Now McLaren state 3 seconds. Now top of the Driven Plus 0 to 60 leaderboard is Harry's R8 V10. So let's see if it'll claim top spot, or let's see if Harry's R8 V10 Plus will keep the top spot. So to put it in launch, obviously you've got to have your left foot firmly down the brake. The menu will then say launch available, start. So then you've got to pull in the left stalk, saying yes. Left foot on the brake. Okay. There we are. Now right, boost building, go. There we are, 2.93 seconds. And that's top spot of the Driven Plus leaderboard. And this will keep going all the way to 205 miles per hour. We're not doing that today, if only. So there we are, McLaren. Come on, you could have said 2.9. That's quick. That's what 200 grand buys you. But I want to talk about the responsiveness of this thing. What's the communication like? Well, the chassis is just unreal. The feedback through this lovely thin steering wheel is immense. It is definitely McLaren-like. Oh, it just soaks up the bends easily. However, comparing it to the McLaren 720S, if you want to watch my review on that car, click up on the pop-up banner. Comparing the two cars, the 720S is more stable coming into a corner under braking. I've got to say the brakes are, like any McLaren-like, very hard to depress. It gives you that race car feel. However, coming into a corner, this does play about, and I've had to think about this, the difference between the two cars. McLaren 720S gets active aero, and I think this is where the two cars are the difference. If this was to have active aero, who knows, they might produce something with a spoiler, then I think this would, I couldn't see the reason to have a 720S. But there is a difference in the feel going into a corner. However though, you know, that's me being really, really particular. On a dry day, there's not much in it. There really isn't. If you're in the position of buying a McLaren Artura, then you're most likely thinking of the Ferrari 296 GTB. That's the lane departure warning. Now the 296 GTB has 140 horsepower more, and there's 50k difference. If you ask me what to go for, well, I haven't driven the Ferrari, so without being patriotic at all, the Artura. So what's it like to drive on a day-to-day basis? Well, the suspension setup isn't too hard. You've got track, sport and comfort. All your different driving modes, you've got comfort, electric, sport and track. Can you drive the car on electric only mode? Yes, as you do at the start of the video, and then it just kicks in the V6. Now, the range of the battery is 19 miles. However, McLaren haven't incorporated regen braking because they wanted the car to feel as McLaren-like as possible. Brave move, I know, but I like it. So how does the battery recharge? Well, it uses something called axial flux E motor. Basically, all we need to know, some magic happens with the magnets and it gets recharged. But here's the ultimate question. I think here is where McLaren have hit the nail on the head with the hybrid system. Can you daily drive it? Yes. It's really comfortable, especially with these club sport seats. The lumbar support is superb. But the one thing I like is that this starts in electric only mode. Even when you press start, it just starts in electric. Whereas for me, okay, yeah, sometimes it can get annoying for some because people like to press start and there's all this nonsense going on, which I can get. It's nice. However, though, if you're going out for a drive, 5 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to wake your neighbours, electric mode, like this morning, coming out at 6 in the morning, it's a neighbour-pleased supercar. Your neighbours will like you. What's there not to like? The charger time. If you're going to use a 240 volt charger, it will take 2.5 hours to charge from 0 to 80%. Now the reason this takes so long is because the battery has been designed to charge overnight when you're asleep. Pretty good if you ask me. But I have to say, the way you sit on the road is, I don't think it gets much better than a McLaren, to be honest. And especially the steering wheel, how lovely it is to hold. The paddles, obviously they're jointed so you can downshift with one hand and change with one hand. Makes sense. It's a lovely, lovely place to be. Yeah, it definitely is. Does make you proud to be British. So I'm really impressed with the Artura so far. However, let's take it to a local pub to find out what the general public think. Okay, so we got Kath here, who's come up all the way to see the Artura at the pub today. Now Kath, question from me, what size engine do you think it's got?
An 8-cylinder.
It's a 3-litre V6 hybrid.
Oh, brilliant, that's good.
So what's your initial thoughts?
I absolutely love the colour. Being a girl, of course.
There we are, one.
I really don't know. Oh.
So you're impressed?
I'm in love, yeah.
She's in love. She's in love. That's what we want to hear.
I just need a fella now that can afford to buy one for me.
So if anyone's watching, Kath is on the market.
I'm on the market.
There we are. Thanks, Kath. So we've got Martin here. Martin, you've come up to see the car. What's your first thoughts?
It's a nice looking car, to be fair, isn't it?
It is a nice looking car. Guess the price on the car.
200k.
That's 2 out of 2 today, so McLaren, you bang on your money. All right, we've got Danny here. Danny, what's your first thoughts on the car?
Very nice. Yeah. Very impressed with it, to be fair.
Tell us 0 to 60. Guess this, Danny.
I would say 2.3 seconds.
It's 2.9, so yeah. Still quick, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably thinking it's slow now. And the last one is most people, well, 2 out of 2 have got this so far. Guess the price.
Just under 200,000.
Yeah, it's £199,000. If you had £199,000 spent on a car, would you buy that?
If I could afford it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Thanks, Danny. So there we are. There's the general public's reaction. And I got to say, I think the general public really likes the McLaren Artura. And I think with it being a British manufacturer, it has to, well, the British public has to approve. And I think they do. But my verdict on the McLaren Artura, I think once you've got your head around the £189,000 price tag, I think you've bought yourself a really good supercar, a good daily driving supercar, and it soaks up the bends really well. The feedback is immense. But I got to say, I love the hybrid, and the fact that we got up this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, put on electric, and the neighbours didn't even realise I left the house. And this is it, whether you've got, well, I suppose it's going to boil down to whether you like your neighbours or not. If you don't like your neighbours, I don't know, don't buy a hybrid, but if you do like your neighbours, you buy the McLaren Artura. Thank you for watching. See you next week.